Imagine this. You're just trying to enjoy a quiet morning casting a line off your own damn dock when the HOA queen rolls up in her lemon-yellow golf cart, phone glued to a selfie stick, screaming that you're a dangerous trespasser who needs to be arrested right now. She hits record, paints you as the neighborhood menace, and dials 911 like it's her personal bat signal. Bless her heart. She really thought she was about to own you on camera for all 50,000 of her loyal followers. What she didn't know was that the trespasser in the faded flannel shirt was the county sheriff on a well-earned vacation, and every lie spilling out of her glossed lips was digging her own grave deeper. The neighborhood of Pleasant Grove Estates looked like every Instagram-perfect suburb dream. Manicured lawns trimmed to exactly 2.5 inches. HOA bylaws. Page 47, subsection C. American flags only on approved holidays and only in tasteful navy blue. And God forbid your trash cans lingered on the curb past 7:03 a.m. Belinda Hargrove ruled it all from her throne as HOA president, a woman who could say bless your heart while filing a $250 fine for visual pollution. She'd been on a tear lately, annexing every scrap of lakefront she could, turning the community pond into her personal profit machine. And my family's old cabin on the edge? It was the last loose thread in her perfect little kingdom. I'd moved back after 30 years wearing the badge, just wanting the creak of the dock boards under my boots and the smell of pine instead of squad room coffee. But Belinda had other plans. 7 days earlier, my old dispatcher Maria had patched through an anonymous tip at 2 a.m. Suspicious drug activity and illegal firearms at 1422 Lakeshore Lane. My address. The caller claimed a hostile resident was cooking meth in the shed and stockpiling guns for who knows what. Classic move, get the place raided, declare it a nuisance, and let the HOA swoop in with eminent domain bylaws she'd probably written on a cocktail napkin. I didn't send a cruiser. I just smiled into the dark and started planning. So here I sat this morning, coffee steaming, rod in hand, waiting like a spider. The whine of her golf cart cut the air first, high-pitched, entitled, slicing through the cicadas like a bad chainsaw. Then came Belinda herself, peroxide blonde helmet hair, yoga pants that had never seen a downward dog, and that phone already rolling. Folks, look at this, she announced to her live audience, voice dripping fake concern. We have an unauthorized intruder on HOA property. Sir, this dock is private, Silver Lake Commons only. You need to leave immediately, or I'm calling the authorities. I didn't even turn my head. Just gave the reel a lazy crank, watching the bobber dance. Behind her, two matching polo shirt minions whispered furiously into their own phones, faces twisted in that practiced outrage only suburban Karens can perfect. Did you hear me? Belinda's voice climbed an octave, the kind of theatrical indignation that screamed, I'm performing. I am Belinda Hargrove, president of the Pleasant Grove Estates Homeowners Association. This is not your land. Get off or face the consequences. The comments were already flooding in. I could see her screen lighting up. Get him, girl. Protect our community. Call the cops. He's probably armed. I took another sip of coffee. My dad built this dock in '68 with nothing but good lumber and spite for anyone who tried to tell him what to do. The deed in my truck's glove box proved it. Permanent exemption from any HOA, past, present, or future, filed in 1991 when some developer tried the same land grab nonsense. Belinda didn't know that. She saw a middle-aged guy in a baseball cap who looked like easy prey. She didn't see the man who'd spent 3 decades reading liars better than she read her Pilates schedule. That's it, she shrieked, stabbing at her phone. I'm calling 911 right now. This man is hostile, refusing to cooperate, and I fear for my life. She fed the dispatcher the full fantasy, trespassing, possible weapons, aggressive behavior. Her minions nodded like bobbleheads. I just adjusted my grip on the rod and waited for the storm to blow itself out. Because storms like Belinda always do. They make too much noise and leave too much evidence. The sirens started faint, then grew, bouncing off the perfect 2-story colonials. 2 cruisers crunched down the gravel path, lights painting the pines red and blue. Belinda puffed up like a peacock, marching toward them with her phone held high. Thank God you're here, officers. This intruder has been terrorizing our community dock. I've asked him politely multiple times. Deputy Reed stepped out first, young, sharp, The kind who still called me sir, out of habit even though I was technically on leave. His partner Sanchez hung back, scanning. Reed nodded at Belinda, all professional. Ma'am, we'll handle it. Can I see some ID? While she fumbled in her designer purse, still narrating for the stream, Reed walked my way. One hand loose on his belt, standard procedure. Sir, we've got a complaint of trespassing. He stopped dead when the shade from my cap lifted. Eyes widened. Jaw tightened. The hand on the belt dropped like it burned. Behind him, Sanchez muttered something that sounded suspiciously like, "Oh shit." Belinda, oblivious, snapped, "Well, are you going to arrest him or not?" Reed cleared his throat, voice suddenly respectful. "Sheriff Caldwell, sir. Everything okay here?" The silence that dropped was beautiful. Pure, vacuum-sealed suburban horror. Belinda's perfectly contoured face went from triumphant pink to corpse white in 0.2 seconds. Her phone wobbled on the stick. 50,000 viewers watched their queen realize she'd just called the cops on the actual sheriff. "What did you just call him?" she hissed, head whipping between us. "Ma'am," Reed said, now ice cold, "this is Sheriff Ryan Caldwell, county sheriff. And from these documents he just handed me." I passed over the deed, the plat map, the 1991 exemption letter, all notarized and ironclad. "This dock, this cabin, this entire parcel has been permanently exempt from your HOA since before you were born. Which means you're the one trespassing on private property." Her mouth opened, closed, opened again like a fish gasping on dry land. The live chat exploded, comments flipping from "YS Queen" to "Girl Run" in real time. But Belinda wasn't done. "Oh no. Cornered Karens never are. This is a setup," she screamed, voice cracking into something raw and ugly. "You're all in on it. Corruption. He's a dirty cop, and you're his puppets." She waved the phone at the deputies like a weapon. "The world is watching." I stood up slowly, set my coffee down, and took off my cap. 30 years of reading people told me this wasn't just a power trip gone wrong. The desperation in her eyes, the way she'd risked everything on one false tip, it was covering something bigger. And that something was making the air near the old community boathouse smell like death. "Reed," I said quietly, "pull the file on that anonymous tip from last week. The one about drug trafficking at this exact address." Belinda's face went translucent. Reed checked his tablet, read aloud. "Call routed through burners, but IP traces back to 24 Silverwood Lane. That's your residence, Mrs. Hargrove." The phone finally slipped from her fingers, clattering onto the dock, still streaming her meltdown to the world. Her two minions were already backing toward the golf cart, like rats fleeing a sinking yacht. I didn't need cuffs yet. I needed answers. And the dead grass behind the boathouse was screaming them. I started walking that way, boots crunching pine needles. The smell hit first, acrid, metallic, wrong for a freshwater pond. Then the ground, a perfect circle of dead earth, yellow grass, withered ferns, nothing alive for 20 feet. I peered through the grimy window. Stacks of 55-gallon drums, some rusted open, black sludge weeping into the dirt. Industrial solvents. Heavy metals. The kind of cocktail that kills lakes for generations and lands you in federal prison. It all clicked. The frantic land grab, the fake tip, the iron-fisted rules keeping everyone away from this spot. It wasn't about my dock. It was about keeping eyes off her private toxic landfill. She'd been dumping for the out-of-state construction buddies she took kickbacks from, poisoning the very water she claimed to protect. And the embezzlement? Her luxury SUV, the designer bags, the first-class trips, all paid for by HOA dues and those fines she'd slapped on half the neighborhood. I keyed Reed's radio. "Dispatch, this is Sheriff Caldwell. Secure the perimeter. Hazmat team, EPA, and warrants for 24 Silverwood Lane. We've got illegal hazardous waste disposal and public endangerment." Behind me, Belinda finally broke. The shrieking stopped. All that was left was a small, trembling woman realizing her perfect little kingdom had just been poisoned by her own greed. The deputies read her rights while the live stream captured every glorious second of her fall. By afternoon, the town hall was packed. Wallace, the old retired teacher who'd been fined $500 for his grandson's bike on the driveway, stood up first. "She called me a menace to children," he said, voice shaking with rage. Turns out the real menace was the one poisoning our kids' swimming hole. Sarah, his accountant granddaughter, projected the bank statements. Thousands funneled to boutiques and resorts while our dues paid for her cover-up. The hazmat crew confirmed it. Barrels leaking straight into the groundwater. Federal charges stacked up like her unpaid fines. Clean Water Act violations, wire fraud, false reports. Her own video became Exhibit A. The HOA dissolved by sunset. People tore down the ridiculous signs about gnome height restrictions. Block parties started that night. 2 weeks later, I was back on the dock, the air finally clean. The remediation team worked quietly down the shore, the lake already starting to heal. I cast my line, felt that gentle tug, and smiled. Peace wasn't given. It was earned by outwaiting the storm and letting it drown in its own lies. So tell me in the comments, was Belinda Hargrove just enforcing the rules like she claimed, or was the real criminal the one who sat quietly fishing while she built her toxic empire on everyone else's dime? Who crossed the line first? The HOA Karen who poisoned a neighborhood, or the man who finally made her drink it? You decide. But we both know the answer feels damn good, don't it?